Welcome to Trading Lounge and the daily US stocks for Monday, November the 14th. A quick look at the S&P here, and with the S&P here, we're looking at, well, an A wave up here, a B wave here, then 1 and 2 and 3, and we'll look for wave 4 and then wave 5. Now, once we have 5 waves here, anything above that, once we have our pullback for those 5 waves here, anything above this here, and then we're going to have to turn a bit bullish and look at the long side at that point. Once we get 3 waves here, in a nutshell, then we can also look to the downside at this point. There are sectors that are looking quite positive. Some are, like the consumer discretionaries, are still coming off their lows, but many of the other sectors are looking quite positive. So let's have a look at those sectors, and we'll look at that, the S&P, in a bit more detail a little bit later on. So the healthcare has always held up quite nicely in terms of this whole correction, and you know what we're looking at here is we're looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We've got 5 waves here, so we can look at it as wave B and we can wait for it to finish. But at the same time now, because of where the markets are, we'll need to also look at this in terms of a nice wave 1 to the upside and a wave 2 back here, and then look for long opportunities in the market in this particular sector here. So what we can do here, it's quite simple. Obviously, if it is a wave B up here, we're going to have 5 waves down for wave C here, if that's the case. If we need to put we've got 5 waves here, it's a little bit overlapping, of course, but we will need to shift this over here. If we get 5 waves here, it's going to play out in terms of, you know, wave 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and so on. If it's going to be wave 1 up here, then it's just going to be an ABC correction, and then we can look for long trades, anything above that. Okay, so it's going to be quite simple. It's just going to work itself into a corner. So this is one of the markets that haven't really come down off their tops that much at all. So it's kind of, you know, it's a bit like the low volatility stocks in a way. I mean, they've come off a fair whack, yeah. So anyway, that's the healthcare sector. We know the energy sector's strong, so we don't need to look at that. The consumer discretionaries, because of inflation, well, you know, people will probably spend a bit less, and you know that is occurring. We're starting to see that in businesses, and so it's possible for this to come off lower here. So with this one here, yes, we could call all of this the A wave, the B wave, and the C wave here. It's just that the C wave to me is a little bit small, too small for this site, this whole trend here. But look, it hasn't come down sharply. It's come down on a nice sort of angle, you know, compared to how sharp these were. So it has slowed down. It's possible. So if we were going to go long in any of these type of markets here, then we would need to have, you know, a nice impulse wave once again with a nice support on the 150, those sort of things. It's not like the finance sector, like Goldman's, you know, really run off quite high up here. So some are leading to the upside and some will be following, and this one, you know, still may fail and come down further in this case. So we're not quite sure about that just yet. So let's just move along here for a moment. The finance sector, I think we have to look at it as a bullish pattern. So with the finance sector here, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 down here as a low. The wave, this move here, you know, we were looking down for 1 and back for 2 and down, but it's not the case, and we need to look to the upside here. Now, there is a case where we can put this with all of, I don't think it's the case for the finance sector, but we could put wave B up here for a C wave up here. In this 4th wave here, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So really we're kind of close to the top here anyway, you don't need to sort of get all FOMO'd about this, because we will see some type of correction. Now it may be quite small and then push up at that point, but that's where we'll catch this particular sector here. And if using the second high here makes it a bit safe, because otherwise if it was going to come down, we wouldn't get triggered in at that point. So it'll just make it a little bit safer. But the finance sector, leading by Goldman Sachs to the upside, is occurring. So the industrial sector also too very strong here. So we also need to look at this as wave one to the upside, and look at this as the low being in place. It is possible to have a look at putting the B wave over to here for this. So we'll also need to be a little bit careful here, but all the markets are going to do the same. And the same with the S&P, we're just looking for 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5 here. But I do think we're bullish, because when you look at some of the other indices around, composite of indexes and things like that, they do have, presenting a nice impulse wave off their lows. So it is probable that we have a bull market in place for all of these things. So let's just see. Anyway, that's the industrial sector and the tech sector. So with the tech sector, we're also looking for down for one, an A and a B and a C wave here, but the tech sector has been sold off quite dramatically, as you know, with Microsoft and Google and so on. Now you can see here that we've got 1 and 2 here, and this will be wave 3 here, and then we're going to have wave 4 here, and then we're going to have wave 5 here. So we can have it as, wave 1 with an ABC pattern here, and then move down at that point. But at the same time, we'll also be looking for an ABC pattern here that can come down here at that point. But as an ABC pattern here, we'll be looking to take that long trade at that point, and then look at this as 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and building to the upside in that case. So we just need to play both hands here for this. It's not like it's run away. Some sectors are stronger than others, as we just noticed. And yeah, so let's just, we're doing this with the S&P, aren't we? We're looking for, just to get things a bit straight here, we're looking for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up here. And yes, anything above that will go long, but anything below that will go short at that point, because we can look at this as a leading diagonal. As you know, we've looked at that before on, I think it was a 20K chart here, looking at it in terms of either wave 1 or wave A to the upside, but we still haven't got a nice wave 4 here. The spike is a little bit hard to see inside, so we don't have to worry about that spike too much, because what will happen, it will play out, the pattern will play out up here, and we'll say, oh, okay, well that's a 4th wave and that's a 5th wave, and then we can make our, our statements from that point. So anyway, that's the tech sector. Hasn't run away like the others, so we just need to be cautious, but we may need to put this as the A, the B and the C wave into play here for this. So we need to look at it at both sides of the market, because the other, the banks have run to the upside and the industrials have run to the upside and so on. Okay, so over to the stocks now. With the stocks, this is really pretty much the same as the S&P moving to the upside. So all we need to do really is just, I may not have this completely right in here. We'll look at this in a bit more detail, but we do need to see a 4th wave and a 5th wave, and then we'll see an ABC correction at that point. Either that or it'll come down further, but it will leave that second high that we can go along on, also that high here. There's a beginning, a middle and an end to a trend. So we're in the end part here, so don't get FOMO'd out about all of this. And yes, Monday will be positive, but it follows through on the Friday as such. So we may need to look at this market in a positive light as well. So let me just have a look at the 100 ticks first, about this little area here, how I've labeled it. I've forgotten how I labeled it. Okay, so I've got wave 2 down here. So we've got 1 over there, 2 here, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. See, yeah, I could put that there, but then it makes that wave 4 here too small. So 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 just for the third wave. Then I need the fourth and the fifth for the third, then the fourth. And look, it might end a bit earlier than that, but look, even if I've got this wrong, it doesn't really matter. I mean, all I can say is we expect the market to move up. We're going meeting waves 4s and 5s, so we're going to see corrective moves here. It won't be going very far from here. It'll go to 155, 156 tops, and what we'll see a little bit later on, somewhere along the line, we'll see a nice little ABC pattern that we can work to the upside here, or we'll be working it to the downside. But I wanted to go to the bigger picture here and just look at what we could be looking at here in terms of a couple of different patterns. It's a little bit tricky to put, see how this wave C here, or whatever it is here, hasn't really made a new low back here. So the only other way to label this really, in a bullish wave, put wave 1 up here, then an ABC for wave 2, but it's come back a long way for a wave 2, so that's a little bit tricky. So we may end up in a triangle here, but there are other ways we can view this as well. So just on the, I think it's the 50k tick here, so this is another way to look at it as well here. So because of inflation, you know, we may not see these type of markets really pushed to the upside. But anyway, let's just track this these different patterns for a little while, but we'll be aware of the intraday. We'll know at what point to go long as well. So yeah, looking for those 5 waves to the upside, as I just mentioned. And you know, once we get the pullback here, if it's in 3 waves, we'll either go long or we'll be looking to go short. But we do need to allow this to play out. And you can see that we've got wave 1 and 2 and the wave 3's in here. So in a couple of sessions, we'll be able to really pin that down and be able to work with that. Okay, so with Nvidia here, so yeah, we're looking at it as a 5-wave move to the upside last time we spoke, and we could look at it as wave A or wave 1. And it doesn't really matter. It's probably go up a little bit further. It's, you know, it was strong here and then it was quite strong here and it's getting weaker and weaker. So look, it will probably end up pushing higher, but what we want to see eventually is some sort of corrective move here. And on that, based on that corrective move, then we can look to build long in this market. So in the bigger picture here, I'm not sure what we had here. Let me just think about this for a second. Okay, so yeah, you know, I was looking this down as 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 here. It's hard to sort of put it in any other way, actually. You know, it's just such a nice impulse wave to the downside. You know, I mean, I could go an ABC for the A wave, a B wave, and a C wave here and finish it. But it doesn't really matter at this point. What we're going to do is, once we get these 5 waves here in play, then we'll look at it. I've got on 10K if I come up with some other pattern here on that. Yeah, not really. No, same. Okay, so anyway, we're gonna allow that to finish off, and when we get the pullback, we'll look for our trade setup on the long side. Amazon, so with Amazon here, we're also looking down for wave 1 and ABC back for wave 2. So I'll just let this play out as well. Like I mentioned the other day, probably mentioned that it's not going to go far from the 100. It's going to pick up from the 100. It's got support here, so it will, you know, it will move to the upside here. So day traders can look at that. But we also need to look at the more positive side for this as well, in actually having a low in here as well. So I was looking at that. I don't know. Just let me have a look what I've got loaded. It wasn't on that one. 20, probably not. 10. Okay, so yeah, I was looking at this on the weekend here, actually. Let me just get this. This is a weekly chart here. Did I have it? Let me just put it on log scale or something here to make it a bit easier. Well, that didn't really pan out, did it? Now we're going to get rid of that. Why is that so open? What's that? Okay, so let's just freaking out. So it's just log scale. So I was looking at it as 1 and 2 here, going back to 98, 1 and 2 here, and then looking at this as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for 1 and 2 and 3, 4. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. So basically we've got this 1, 2, 3, 4 here, basically, you know. That's kind of what I was looking at here with this. Certainly it can come down further here as such, but we're definitely in a fourth wave here. And I was also thinking that as that fourth wave here, then it's a little bit rough around the top here, but you know, I've thought about this a bit. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here, and then we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then we've got 5 waves here. So I can look at this as an A and a B and a C, and then have 5 waves up here as well for that, because I got my 5 waves in here, and I've got my 5 waves here, an A, B, and a C here. So it's pretty rough as guts, but it's, as we say in Australia, it's not very British, is it? But an A and a B and a C wave here for the A wave, and A, B, C for the B, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I reckon we could have a low in here. So we know that, you know, people won't be shopping as much with inflation. I mean, a lot of folks have got homes that they're, you know, they need to pay mortgages on things, and the cost of living has gone up, and so they won't be spending as much, and that's why all this consumer discretionary is at these lows here. But so it's possible, you know, theoretically for them to come down, but at the same time, if I look for long trade setups here, that's what will also, because it will follow the market as such. So yes, it can have a low in place, but I'm also looking at it being bearish. I'll just take the two sides for the play both hands for the time being, but I will put my trader hat on and look for a trade in due course. But I'm not going to look for anything for a while in terms of trades until, what's this, the SPX here. So we got 1, 2, 3. Until this leg here is finished and we got a correction here, then we can look for stock trades and have a look at, you know, especially these type of ones that are not don't have you know, that haven't taken off, so to speak. Meta platforms is another one as well. So we've just been tracking it up here as 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and going up for 5 here. It could be viewed as an ABC for the A wave, the B wave, and the C wave up here. I just want to allow it to complete. It is possible to have a low in place here. It's also possible that any of these moves up here can be wave 2 or 4 as well. So I do need it to just play out. So yeah, the trend will be slowing down. You can see that it's slowed down later on the Friday here. So it's, you know, we're getting toppy with it. It's still further to go, but look, the whole move up here I can count as 5 waves, and that's why I've got this wave 1 here. But otherwise, we'll be looking at it as wave C of 2 or 4. There's a couple of different ways to play it out. But, you know, we certainly can have a low in place with this market. Doesn't hurt to have a look at both sides, but the only way I can get a low in here is looking at this as the A wave and the B wave, and to me, you know, it doesn't really make a lot of sense. All of this down here looks like an impulse wave to me, you know. I mean, I'll just normally put this wave down here, an A wave here, and look for a B wave back up here, and later on a C wave here in everything, you know, and that's probably the case. But it doesn't hurt to look at these. So this move up here, I'm just monitoring it at the moment. We can look at it moving up in other ways. So we can have a look at it in terms of, on the daily chart here, in terms of that bearish move, looking at it in terms of, you know, 1 and 2, 1 and 2, 3, 4, 5 for third wave, fourth wave. Fourth wave's a bit small. Kind of feel like putting that over here for that, but it doesn't. Yeah, that could finish it off actually. if I did that, if I look for 1, 2 here, still don't have a nice, unless I looked at that as 1 and 2 and 3, 4, 5. Yeah, I kind of like got to force it. Each way I got to kind of force it. So I'll just continue to look at this, how it grows here, and how it how other markets similar to this play out as well. But it certainly looks impulsive to the upside, as we could just see on the intraday. And Netflix here. So with Netflix, we're looking for an A wave, a B wave, and a C wave up here. It's moved past its 50-60% retracement level area here. We also need to just keep a bit of an eye on this one, because the thing is here, we've had it labeled as wave 1 up here. See, once again with this one here, when you look at it, we've got wave 1 here, and 2 here, then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here. So we've got that third wave here, fourth wave and fifth wave. I could put it as an A and a B and a C wave here and have it completed, but you know, just it feels like all this is just one leg in some way. And once again, if this is all just the A wave here, then the B wave would be back up here somewhere. So really we should probably be looking at this here as an A wave up here for this, and then looking at a B wave back over here, but it hasn't pulled back. So this is quite interesting, because you know, we could look at this as 1 here, or even 1 here onto that little high here as 1 and 2, and then all of the third wave coming in here up to here as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for 1 up here. But even so, I'm not this. I'd still, you'd think that we'd get the A wave, the B wave, and the C wave back here for that. But it's gone above the 61.8%. So I do wonder, you know, thinking about, would it sort of get away on us if we didn't think this out properly. So this here could just be, if I remove that, could just be wave 1 and 2 here, so of a larger degree, you know what I mean, like 1 here, and then we need to put wave 1 over here for this and wave 2 here, because it has moved up too far. So what I'll do is I'll just we'll just monitor this as well, because it will probably deliver 5 waves up, and if it delivers 5 waves up, well then we'll need to look at the ABC correction here, and then move in on the long side over here for this. I'll just have a look at we're on 100 ticks. I'll just have a look at 10 ticks here for a moment. I did label it here a bit. Oh, that's good. I could put that there, but it doesn't really matter at this stage, that 2 there. So yeah, I have started to count it up. So let's just see. I mean, it could be the A wave, a B wave, and a C wave and finish here. But if that gives us a third wave here and a fourth, I know everybody wants to go long at the moment, but if you go long here, you know, looking at this trend, we've got the beginning, this is the middle, and then this will be the end of the trend. So you're basically going long into the end of the trend. So if we do get those 5 waves up here, we'll look for an ABC correction here, and then we can build in the trade at that point, you know. Because the thing is that if we take this up to say 310, if you go long at the moment, you'll end up, if we take that to 310, you might get lucky and it might just come back to 50% or 40%, but you know, the norm is the 61.8%, but it will probably, you know, stay around the 50%, I guess, but it's still, you know, if you go long here, that means you're stuck in there for all that time, you know, and we don't even have any proof, you know. We could have an A and a B and a C wave to here, and then we just come down from that point. Do you know what I mean? So it's very dangerous going long here unless you're going to get out again, you know. If you're going for the trend, then just chill and we'll pick it up. We'll do all the right things at the right time. Won't be perfect, but it will be better than getting caught in something, you know. Like I said, it's okay if you want to jump in and trade the Monday, you know, and the Tuesday and get out. But you know, in terms of actually, you know, doing all the right things, then because we want to, you know, we'll buy some down here and then we'll build in over here if that's going to be the case. And that's the same. This is the same with all of them. This is the same with the S&P and everything, you know. So there'll be nothing to trade, and then there'll be everything to trade. So this is Enphase, and we've had it as a wave 3 up here with a wave 4 here. And we've been counting up as wave 1, and then we came back for wave 2. We've got a small position here. But now, I've just rejigged this count too, by the way. I've just put wave 1 here and 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for the third, fourth, fifth. It became a bit clear towards the end, at the end. So the good, well, there's a couple of things here that we really do need to talk about. We did make a new high here over this one, right? So it is possible that this wave 4, I'm just shooting the breeze, it could be over here. It's probably not the case, right? But we need to talk about, could be over here. And then we could have, this is the A wave here, that would be the C wave over here, and this would be the B wave up here. So it would be an A wave, a B wave, and a C wave here. It's taken that high out, but it hasn't taken that high out. That's the risk at the moment. Okay, so we need to sort of move past that. I was going to buy back in here, but if I had 5 waves here and it hadn't taken the top out here, then I would have been more comfortable. But we are looking at this now. Look, it's probably not the case, and we're fine to the upside. So I did have a bit of a counter that. It looked like we had 5 waves down to that point. And this looks like a little ABC, and the 50-60% is around here somewhere. So what we have to wait for, this will probably pop up, and we'll have to go for the second high here to go long on. That's pretty much, wherever that settles, that's pretty much above the, this, basically this top here in that regard. But that will be above the, the 50-60% on that 310. Then we'll pick it up next session. I was hoping to look. You could buy a small bit here if you wanted to, but long as now that I've told you what the risk is, that's the problem. Okay, and if we look at this here, we are at that 50-60% here. So if that let's just say the 280, if the 280 became the resistance here, then we'd be going down from that point. Okay, so I was hoping to buy some here and then build onto the 300 and then the 10, 20 and 30. We could still build it in on these, but the way that came down, I mean, I was expecting an A wave and a B wave up here and so on, and that may be the B wave up here. I don't know yet, but I can count 5 waves down to that point, so we'll just see what comes at this point. But yeah, there is a little bit of risk at this point with this, so we just need to be a little bit careful and a little bit more patient. Okay, with Tesla, so it is possible to put a low in here. We have talked about this before. We can go this way with it. This has always been the high here for that, so we can put wave 2 here, we can put that wave 5 down here. I mean, I need to use a bigger one. We can put that there, that would be there. So we can have a low in place here for Tesla. But we're also looking, like Amazon and those other consumer discretionaries, we're also looking for further downside as well. So we need to just allow this to play out a little bit further here. We need something to get our teeth in. So I think I'll just go straight to the 100 ticks here now that I've said my piece on that. And this is where we were last time speaking. We're looking for a wave 1 and wave 2 back to this point. So this needs to play out. We could put wave A here, we could put wave A here. It doesn't really matter at this point, but I think that's pretty much the right place to put wave B. And we'll look at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up here. So we'll just get a bit more of a grip on this here. We'll look for a long trade if we have to. I mean, not if we have to. If we get the right, if everything sort of falls into place, we'll do that. Just want to check that box area there. Okay, that's all right. So yeah, look, we'll just monitor this for a while. No, we don't need to get in on the bottom here. I mean, you're welcome to, and welcome to build on the top here. And, you know, we could end up continuing to the upside, which is probably the case, but I can't prove that at this stage, you know. So we'll just keep monitoring this, and yeah, I mean, everything looks bullish at the moment, but, you know, we may end up looking for shorts under the B wave here. That would be our normal process at this point. Okay, so we're just going to wait on that. And Google here as well. So with Google and Microsoft, when they had their earnings and they came down, they just pretty much gapped here and left. Didn't really leave a nice pattern here, you know. All I could count it at is an ABC for the A wave, and then a B wave and a C wave here. So the whole thing makes a corrective move, and we know that this is corrective over here. So do we look at it as an A wave, a B wave and a C wave up here? Probably not, but once again, I have to just allow it to play out, because we don't want to get caught out here. So if we do look at this as wave C here of 2, which also could be wave 1, we could look at it as 1, 2, 1, 2. Anyway, it'll play out here a little bit further, and yeah, so it will end up giving us that first high above the level, or somewhere up there, and then it's going to give us something like this. Now we'll go long from this point. And if we don't get triggered, then the market's simply going to come down from that point, right? So all we need to do is just be a little bit patient and wait that out. And yeah, there's probably, yeah, we'll see how this goes. I mean, you know, I could put wave 3 here, by the way, and wave 4 here, you know, and have wave 5 here. I could finish it off like that. And then we'll have an ABC back from this point, and then we'll work it from that point, and then we'll put this as wave 1 up here on those 5 waves, and look for that. So I'll just see. We just need to, you know, just need to allow this to. I need the whole thing to play out a little bit further, and this will be the same for Microsoft as well. So we've had that. You know, this weird move down here, you know, so at the A wave, the B wave and the C wave, and, you know, maybe we've got to finish it off as a 5th wave here, but, you know, I think I'm doing the right things just by getting the 1, 2 here and the 3, 4, 5. And once again, I could put wave 3 here and wave 4 here and wave 5 here. That would all make sense. But I'll just leave this up here. I just want to see how it plays out. It might even take 2 or 3 sessions, you know. But the thing is that yeah, like I said before, we just need to see the 5. We need to, once we get the ABC pattern here, then it'll make it a little bit easier to get the long trades in. So we'll just chill on those. Berkshire Hathaway here, we probably need to look at this as an impulse wave to the upside as well. So the A wave here, a B wave, this B wave over here for this, and a C wave down here, and have the low in place. But I'll put this over here as well, because we can look at it as an A and a B and a C into the 61.8%, and we'll do the same again as well. We can look at this as 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and then up for 5 here. With up for 5 here, we've got 1 and 2, and then we can't see wave 4 yet, because it normally, you know, pops its head out sideways there somewhere, and then wave 5. So we're still looking for the top of wave 3. We need 4 and we need 5, and then we need the ABC pattern. And if we're going to go long on this market, well, then we can do that from over here. But otherwise, it can be an A and a B and a C, and then move down from that point, you know. So let's just see how that plays out, but we need that trade set up. Like I said, you'll only be getting yourself into trouble going long here. It's okay if you want to get out again, but yeah, I won't go to the intraday on that. And with block here as well, we're going to pretty much do the same thing as well, in terms of look for 5 waves to the upside of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here for this. And then we'll look for a pullback at that point and see what it looks like. So it will take me a little while to get all this sort of finished off and get on the other side over here. And this could be counted completely differently as well. It's a bit of a tricky one. I think I was looking at this 50k and 10k. Let me have a look. So this is on just on 50k. This was one count here. I was thinking, it's just such a nice third wave, isn't it? So it's hard to count it. We could count it down as an A wave, a B wave, and count it down. We'll have a look at that. But if I just look at it for what it is, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here, and yeah, there is overlap here, but nice 3-wave move here, 1 and 2. 1 and 2, 1, 2, 3, all of this is the third, fourth, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here. All of that counts quite nice for the third wave. And a fourth wave, and then 1 and 2 here, and 3, 4, 5. So that all counts quite nicely. So I can get 5 waves to that low there without any problem. So then I think, well, what's all this then? Is this some sort of A wave, B wave here, and C wave here? And it does count quite nicely like that, because I can count 5 waves down to that point. And then we did have a low on this one here, so I'm thinking an A and a B and a C for the low here, and counting 5 waves up. So those 5 waves I'm just talking about, I just want them to finish as well, because we could roll over into a C wave down here for that. If we do get those 5 waves, we get the 5 waves up here and we get an ABC back, well then we'll look to go long at that point. And try to call this in here. I think I might have had it on the 10k tick here just to, yeah. So the other way to look at this, of course, to have a low in place, would be looking at this as the A wave here, the B wave here, and having the extension in wave 1, and then 2, and then 3, then 4, and then 5, and we've got the low in place there. Obviously, wave 4 is overlapping wave 1, so there are issues with this, and so. Yeah, it's just a bit of a tricky one, but at the same time, we need to put we need to put the trading hat on at some point. So as I mentioned, from this particular low here, we want to look for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up here. The same as we're looking for the NASI and the S&P and all the rest of it. And once we've got those 5 waves, once we get a 3-wave move back, then we can look to go long. How long we can go long for is another question, but that would be the setup at that point. We would need to take that on board at that stage. Yeah. Alrighty. So over to the banking sector, and so with the banking sector, the banks here, this is coming back to the banking sector here, the XLF, we can see that we're starting to get a nice 5 waves up here. Now it's possible that we get the 5 waves up here and then we just roll over, but if we do get the 5 waves up here, then we'll need to look at going long on the retracement level area here. That would be the safe way to approach all of this. So this is what we have to do for the banks, but it does look rather bullish, I have to say. So with here we're looking at an A and we can look at it as a blue wave, A, B, and C up here for the B wave at the 50-60%, and then roll over from that point. That's doable. It's not the best fantastic low in place over here, but we might need to look at it as an A wave, a B wave, and a C wave, and that's the end of it here. And now we're looking at the first 5-wave move to the upside. So I always thought that would end up at the 40 here somewhere, would have some high above the level, and then we would have some sort of corrective. We can go long above the top, we can go long above the second high as well. So this top here and then this top here, if it comes back up through and triggers these off, and we'll be able to bring that down and then we'll be able to work the low here and get a better position as well. So even though it is an ABC, we'll be able to do better. But I don't think it's going to go very far past. I mean, it's not going to go. It's not going to move away from the 40 very much. Anywhere from the 36.50 would probably be about the low 36.50 area. That would be probably the lowest it will go, I guess. But anyway, we'll keep an eye on it. But yeah, we need it to finish off, so we can expect it to to go higher. Even from this little low here, you can see 1 and 2 here, and then there'll be wave 3 up here, and 4 and 5. Now this wave 5 may need to go on top of wave 3 here. There's different ways to count this. It just depends what you... At this stage you can go 1, 2, 3 here, but on some of the other markets this is too small for a wave 3, so we can't use it as a wave 3. So I think that wave 3 will be further up here on that. And Morgan's the same as well, so we can look at it in two different ways. And we can look at it, the move up here, as also wave 1 up here as well. It looks extremely bullish. It just makes this here as an A and a B wave and a C wave here a little bit small. But anyway, we'll see what it looks like. But if we do get 5, well, obviously we're getting 5 waves here. Once it finishes up here in the 50-60%, it will pull back. And then we can take a closer look at that. And Goldman's is one of the markets that has moved up the highest, and yeah, we'd have to look at it a little bit differently really, because it's a bit difficult because it didn't make a low here. We'd have to look at it as wave 1 and 2 in here, and 3, 4 and 5 here, then in the ABC pattern here with 1 and 2, and all of this up here for either wave C, you know, for an A and a B and a C, or wave 3 up here for this. So once again, I think some of the other banks will be better, even though this has moved along really quite quickly, because it's going to be approaching the high and the 400 here. It's going to spend time here, and that's what, you know, if this is 1, 2 here, normally wave 3 comes in across the top, so wave 3 and wave 4. So what you see here is not what you'll get next. It'll become quite choppy across the 400 here, and you'll be stuck here, where the other ones need to play catch up. So these ones here, you know, we'll have to look at this as wave 1 here and 2, so we'll be able to go reasonably smoothly up to the old highs if that is indeed going to be bullish at that point. Alrighty, well that's it. Thanks for tuning in, much appreciated. Cheers.